On 7 December 1941, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, killing 2,500 American soldiers. यहाँ से अमेरिका की एंट्री वर्ल्ड वॉर में पक्की हो गई थी. J. Robert Oppenheimer, also known as the father of atomic bomb, को एटम बॉम्ब डेवलप करने का काम दिया गया था. और यहाँ से उनके मेंटल स्ट्रगल की शुरुआत हुई. His moral dilemma, his philosophy on morality and humanity. Questions like should he go ahead with the development of bomb, which would likely stop the world war, thereby saving lives of all these soldiers who could be killed, या फिर should he decline it, जिससे लाखों बेगुनाह लोगों की जान बच सकती है. The task was monumental. Humanity was on the verge of a U-turn, and Oppenheimer was its chauffeur. This being the surface problem, but what Oppenheimer was really worried about was its consequences. एक दुनिया जहाँ एटॉमिक बॉम्ब लोगों को एक्सेसिबल है. ओपनहाइमर ये सोच के भी चिंता में थे कि if we human beings can be trusted with such a destructive weapon that could wipe entire humanity. Oppenheimer had this anxiety about the consequences of his choice, कि अगर वो ये बॉम्ब बना देते हैं तो हम कौन सी दुनिया में जा रहे हैं. He was worried about the chain reaction that would take place, both chemically as well as politically. And this was wonderfully portrayed in Oppenheimer film directed by Chris Nolan. No spoilers, but this has something to do with the ending of the film. Anyways, Oppenheimer ये चिंता में थे कि एटम बॉम्ब बनाकर हम अपने ही पैर में कुल्हाड़ी तो नहीं मार रहे. This was such a moral movement, quite similar to that of Arjuna, जो महाभारत के युद्ध में refuse कर चुके थे लड़ने. Arjuna was too afraid to take part, and fear had taken over him. Both of his decisions had consequences. Either Arjuna fights and wins and lives with the agony for killing his family members, or be a coward, run away, and eventually lose all the respect and hopes that people had on him. And Krishna Bhagwan quoted this wonderfully, that for a respected man it's better to die than be dishonored for things he could have done. No matter which decision Arjuna took, he would have to face its consequences. Whatever happens in our life, we will bear the fruit of action as well as inaction. The consequences of your choices are inevitable. Either you confront your bully and face its consequence, or you get bullied whose consequences you have been already facing. अगर ओपनहाइमर ने बॉम्ब नहीं बनाया होता तो कोई और इसे बना लेता. कभी ना कभी तो ये होना था. In fact, Einstein had already warned the American government about the development of an atomic bomb in Nazi Germany. This led the President of America to make a committee regarding the development of a nuclear weapon before their involvement in the war. This is where Bhagavad Gita came to Oppenheimer's rescue, and it became clear to Oppenheimer that he has no control over the consequences that he'll eventually face in the real world. What's necessary is that he performs his duty wholeheartedly. Krishna Bhagwan told Arjuna that being a Kshatriya, it was his duty to take part in the war, and Kshatriyas take great pride if given such an opportunity to take part in such a war. Even if Arjuna doesn't get the desired results and ends up dying in the battlefield, the doors of heaven would welcome him wholeheartedly, as he passed away midst of something he was chosen for, his dharma. It is better to do one's own dharma, even though imperfectly, than to do another's dharma perfectly. You know, all of the things Arjuna did throughout his life, his preparation as a warrior and becoming the greatest archer there could possibly ever be, all of these events in his life were pointing and preparing him towards fighting in the great war of Mahabharat. Arjuna was known as the great warrior and best among men, and this was his movement. Fear was not a choice. Rather, because of his ability, this duty of fighting against the Kauravas was bestowed upon him. The same thing happened with Oppenheimer. The knowledge and the kind of man he was put him in such a vital movement of mankind. What's surprising to me is that despite having a left and communist ideology, Oppenheimer was chosen as the head for the development of this atomic bomb. The man was destined for it. Ultimately, what's supposed to happen will happen, and trying to know what can happen is something we are not made for. Instead, something we are incapable of. Oppenheimer could have never predicted how long this chain of reaction of dropping the bomb would go on. How dropping an atomic bomb could lead to Cold War and then the dissolution of Soviet Union and then many future events. We as human beings do not know how long we'll face the consequences of our actions. As Krishna Bhagwan tells Arjuna to perform his duty and not think about the results. What needs to happen will happen irrespective of the things we think about it. What matters is that are you courageous enough to do what you have been chosen for and be part of something that you're assigned for and perform it with utmost responsibility. Through Oppenheimer performing his duty, he was a sign of getting this destructive weapon into life in this world. Lying to yourself and running away from responsibilities might help you in the short run, but in the long run, it will be the reason for your self-degradation, lack of respect, and whatnot. What's necessary in life is to stand for yourself, perform your dharma, and bravely face its consequences. Shri Krishna is watching.